everybody, I'm Meg from LovenStamps, and I am excited to share a video with you this morning. Sorry for being a couple minutes behind. I actually came up with 2 cards for this stamp set, and so I was trying to decide which one I was going to show you first. And they're both pretty cool, like very technique-y cards. So I think I'm going to show you one today and then one next week. But both feature the On the Ocean stamp set. And if you are looking at this card or this stamp set and thinking, oh, I think there's really, that looks kind of limited. I don't know what I would do with that. I'm going to show you 2 really different cards with this, with a totally different feel, like almost to the point of like, I can't believe that is the same stamp set on both of those. So one today and one next week, but I'll give you a sneak peek of the second card at the end too, so you know what you're looking for. We are also going to talk about the dies that go with this stamp set. Always dangerous to hold dies in the middle of the air. But these go together really, really well. And even if you're doing mostly stamping like we are today, there's some great ways to use the dies like on the inside of your card. So, hey Sue. All right. I also have a tip about red rubber stamps and how I organize them inside the box. And we are going to feature the blending brushes. So I'll show you this now because from the other camera it'll be just down. But this is the blending brush storage, and it holds 9 of the blending brushes, the big ones and the smaller ones, which are newer, so you may or may not have any of the littler ones yet. But it is a really great tool to have handy. You can move it around, you can take it where you want. I'm really a fan, so I just thought I'd show you kind of what this looks like. The pieces, the blending brushes sit in little chunk outs. I don't know, there's a better, cutouts would be a better word. They sit in little cutouts at the bottom so that they're in there pretty stably. And we'll see that again. So with that, we're going to go ahead and flip our camera down. So the first thing that I'm going to show you here is just a little reminder because I just mounted this stamp set. It was on my list for a while, but I hadn't gotten it. So when I mount my stamps, of course, you have your sticker sheet here and your red rubber leftovers. I find sometimes that when I go to pop these back into the spaces here, that the red rubber, it kind of fits, but it's not always exact. And so I've come up with a different way that I like to use this to organize my stamps because I never want to lose track of which ones go with which, and I want to make sure when I put a stamp set away that it has all the images in it. So I peel the paper off of the backing here, so off of the rubber. There are some things that you can use this for. You can make your own little custom stamps. You can make sort of fun background images. You can also use this for shaker cards. I've done some shaker cards with the red rubber overlays, especially for a stamp set like this that has matching dies. You could use this piece right here as a custom fit shaker card outline for using with the die here. And then of course you'd make a die cut piece to go over the top, and you would already have a custom piece of foam to go on there. Anyway, there's some videos on that. If you need help finding them, let me know. I have them on my blog, but I'm going to toss that and I'm going to use this. And so what I do is I pop this open here, and I'm going to slide this with the shiny side up into my stamp case. And what that's going to do is give me a place where I can pop every one of these little stamps. I will know that I have everything that I need when I put this away, and I won't lose anything. Plus they're just going to be right there ready for me to use. So, all right, let's see. Oh, I'm missing comments. Sorry. Hey, Becky. Okay. So the other thing I do is I usually take this leftover sticker sheet and I just pop it on top. That way, if I have things that I want to store in here, there's like a layer between the inky or possibly slightly inky stamps and the things that I'm storing. So On the Ocean. All right, so let's look at our ink colors for this project. The link is in the video description as always for all of the supplies that I'm using. But we are going to use some of these muted colors here. And this would be a great guy card if you like guy cards in sort of masculine-y kinds of colors. Honestly, it's a great card for anyone. Certainly not to pick Certainly not to pick, assign colors to genders or things like that. But it is a card in sort of more woodsy, darker tones, which can be something that sometimes doesn't like jump out at us, because a lot of times, at least for me, I like to make bright color cards and so forth. So let's see. Hi, Keisha and Kelly. Happy pre-Friday, Trish. So we're going to go ahead and use these with our stamps. But this stamp is a silhouette here. And so one of the things that I like to do with a silhouette stamp is to add some extra color to it. So let's bring our cardstock in here. I've got Mossy Meadow full sheet, or half sheet, full card size. I've got a layer of Night of Navy and a layer of Basic White. And we're going to talk a little bit more about these sizings as we go along. But let's pull in here our Basic White sheet, because we're going to go ahead and color this first, or stamp this first. And we're going to ink our stamps, but a little bit differently than usual. So I'm going to go ahead and open these up because we're going to need all of them. So Copper Clay, Misty Moonlight, Night of Navy, and Mossy Meadow. And so you guys know that when you are stamping, of course, you can, put your stamp in your ink and ink it up. So I'm going to do that just here with Mossy Meadow to kind of get us started. Okay, so now we have some green on there, but then you can also ink your stamps, and let's come get you guys a little closer. You can also ink your stamps with your blending brushes. So I have one here for sort of using with browns and oranges, and one here that I use for blues and turquoises. And I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper here so that I have a place to kind of test my blending brushes, and I'll show you kind of a little bit more about that too. We should put this underneath here. Okay, that would have been good to start with, right? Do things in order. No worries. It gives us a chance to arrange our stamp pads the way we want them. So, all right. So I have my piece here. So I've already inked this. And then I'm going to bring in my lighter blue, Misty Moonlight, and my brown, and we're going to add some color variation to this. So instead of having one flat color, we're going to end up with some variety. So I'm going to ink this up. When you use your blending brushes, I'll turn this way just so you can see. You could, of course, do this all the time in your hand, but it's faster to leave it on the table. So what I do is I swirl here, and then I usually tap on my sheet to get off that big like bolus of ink, that big like mostly part there. So you can see kind of it's easier to blend if you don't start with that first thing here. So here, I'll swipe here, and then I'll show you without it. See what happens is you end up with a real dark inky spot. So when you're blending with these, or your fingernails, you want to just tap once or twice first to get off that extra big amount of ink. So not so important for this because we are doing direct to stamp technique. So I'm going to blending brush here. I'm going to do a little tapping, a little swirling, and you might be thinking, but Meg, aren't you getting green ink on your blending brush? So yes. But the great thing about blending brushes, and you can see a little bit of that green here, is that when you swipe them, they don't hold the ink. They look like they're all stained, but they really don't hold the ink. The ink is only up there at the tip, and you can kind of see, it doesn't penetrate very far down into the brush. These don't want to suck your ink. They want to hold it right at the top. And so it's really easy to, get that extra green out. So we're going to come back here with our Misty Moonlight now. I'm going to do our swirl, swirl, and then I'm going to do some tapping and some swirling here on our stamp. Now, same thing, I'm picking up some brown and some green, and I want this to be blue, so I'm going to clean it out on my scrap paper and then come back and do maybe just a little more. And I kind of like to do a little tap over at the end, get rid of that extra bleeding ink. There we go, just to kind of even out our color. So let's see how we did. This is one of those techniques where it's not the same every time. It's going to be a little bit different. And so I'm going to go ahead and stamp this here on our paper. All right, and we're going to see what we got. Oh, pretty. All right. So a little bit of green, a little bit of blue, a little bit of places where the copper is really strong. I like this, that variation right across the middle there. Okay, now if you like your colors a little cleaner, you could, you know, blend and swirl a little bit less, but I'm happy with this. So we're gonna bring in our blue now, and I'm going to do 2 colors. I'm gonna do Misty Moonlight for our water, and then I'm going to add some swirling with our Night of Navy. So I'm gonna pull in Night of Navy, and I'm gonna tap kind of along the bottom edge of the water, I think. There we go. So now we have 2 different blues there, and I'm gonna stamp this, and it's gonna overlap the bottom of our ship so that our ship isn't like floating there. So we have some variation. The other great thing about this stamp set is that it is designed to offer variation. So you could stamp it flat in just one color if you wanted, and still have a lot of nice lightness, darkness variation in there. All right. Then we're gonna use our clouds. We're gonna add some clouds up here. We wanna leave a place for our greeting. We're gonna put our greeting right here because our image is pointing right there. So that is like a super strong hint for where we should put our focal point. So you guys know I'm all about focal points. And I'm just gonna use Misty Moonlight for this one. And we're gonna put one up here. And then that was really dark. So I'm gonna stamp off for our second one up here. And put this above. There we go. And then sometimes stamp sets have fabulous accessory images like these little birdies here. So I'm gonna grab these, and in Night of Navy, I'm gonna put some kind of down here, and then I'm gonna put some up here. And then we're gonna come back with our greeting, which is gonna be You Are a Treasure. So one of the things I love about this stamp set is that the greetings are as ambiguous as you want them to be. So this could be a thank you card. This could be a birthday card. There's things in here, I'd be lost without you. That's cool, like thank you kind of message. We have happy birthday, hoping this year is full of adventure and excitement. We can weather this together. There are a lot of good possibilities for this stamp set and the greetings. So I'm a big fan of things that have greetings that are very flexible. All right, so now we're gonna do some more stamping in the middle, but I think we're good with this for now. And I'm gonna zoom out just a tad. Let's see, there we go. And we're gonna talk about our borders here. So let's see, Becky said, thanks for sharing. I put the negative rubber back in and always have trouble getting the space. Yes, that is exactly what I was talking about in there. I have trouble getting the stamps into that negative rubber space sometimes too. So this is my solution. So I know I've got them all. All right. So our piece here. So this piece I cut to 3 1/4 inches by 4 1/2 inches. And I made a layer that is just 1/8 of an inch bigger. So it is a very tight smidge all the way around the edge. But I really like that for kind of a classy layered look. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this on. But before I do that, I'm gonna show you, we're gonna do this here on a Mossy Meadow card base, which is gonna help to bring out those colors. So let's kind of look at how this works. So you can really see the green come out. So here's without, and then when we add that, it really brings our greens out of our stamped image. And then kind of the same here for the blues. Here's without, and then when we add this, it really helps to strengthen those blues. So I really like both of them together because they're working together. And there are a number of ways you could adhere this. You could do it sort of like a kitty corner thing like this. For this one, I'm gonna go ahead with square just because I love it. But I wanted to show you guys the difference. So here is with the Night of Navy border to the white and the green card. But let's pretend that our card was navy and we had our green border. Look at how different that is. So when I pull out my cardstock to decide, okay, what color is my mat gonna be and what color is my cardstock gonna be, I often test them both directions and kind of try to figure out which one I like better and which one is a sort of a more ideal choice for us. So I really like this one. And the Night of Navy in this acts almost like a black layer, like a neutral, so that it really brings out the difference between the black and the white. So it's kind of nice to have that black and white right at the edge, or in this case, navy and white. All right, so we're gonna pop these on because Stampin' Dimensionals always give you a nice shadow layer around the edge. And I'm gonna pop this here on our card front. So now to the inside of our card, so there's the front of our card. To the inside of our card, we have another piece here of basic white. And we are going to stamp our greeting on this, and then some sort of decorations with the die cuts. So let's see, I have our long greeting here. Hoping this year is full of excitement and adventure. We're gonna go ahead and stamp that. And then I'm gonna put a tiny happy birthday under that, and I'll do that in the same color just because. So there's our happy birthday. And then because we have some great images in this stamp set, this right here is perfect with our, what did I say this color was that I'm using? Copper clay. For a second, I couldn't remember if it was pecan pie or copper clay. So there is a fun inside of our card, but we are not finished because there are all of these super fabulous dies to use that go along with the stamp set. So there's one that cuts out the ship. There's one that makes a whole die cut ship. There's clouds. There's a couple of the ship's wheels. There's some flags. There's the little skull and crossbones if you want to turn it into pirate. But there's two more dies in this set, and I'm going to bring them in here because I've just die cut them. And these are the wave dies. And so I wanted to show you these because I did not understand. Actually, the first time I die cut them, I did not really understand how they worked together. So we're going to talk about this. So one is this sort of detailed outline die, and one is an edge die. And they do go together like this. So you could die cut together if you want to. And if you do, you get something. So here's what the single die is going to look like, right? It's going to make this. You can kind of see how it gives you that really pretty wave overview. So you can use that alone or with something else. If you die cut these together, you end up with this, which has this fun extra little wave topper on it. So you could, find a cool way to use that tiny little bit. You could pull this top layer off. I'm going to show you. I'm going to clip this out. So I didn't detach it beforehand because I wanted you guys to see how it worked. So you can have the negative die cut here and the positive, which is added by the second die. So you can get this here. You can guys see? Let me show you on a white. So we could do like this, which I think is like absolutely gorgeous and very detailed and impressive. But let me also, so here's this one, okay? So we have a negative. You can use this for, with your blending brushes, you can make a really cool background. You could use this piece in two different ways also. So let me clip this, and I'm going to show you some ideas for this. And let me pull this here. Okay, so these are very clever. This die is very cleverly designed. So you actually could layer them like this. You could use it both ways and have a variety of cool, I think this one I would put on top, a variety of cool sort of multi-layered waves with it. And then you can also use it as the layer for this. So this one, this detail here, stuck to my plates, fits on top like this. You see how that goes together now? So we have this choice, we have this choice, we have the negative space, we have this one here. And then let's take, I wasn't gonna show you, this wasn't like on my list of things to do, but let's do this as a test here. I'm gonna bring in, because we're using blending brushes on our stamps, I'm gonna show you a blending brush on the background kind of idea. And so we have this layer here. So I'm gonna pop this on here. I'm gonna put it down towards the bottom of our card so we can pretend this is like the inside of our card or something like that. And then I'm gonna take my blue blending brush. Let's see, we've got plenty of ink on there. And I am going to blend across here to make a background. So I'm using this die cut edge, the sort of scrap piece, as a mask. And so now we have this really cool die cut across here, which actually I kind of like for the inside of our card. So maybe we are gonna do that. And then if you wanted to, you can add this really cool overlay like this as extra detail. I'm gonna do that on our card because I have another one to show you. So let's bring in our card base here. And we're going to use this scrap here instead of using the top piece. and I'm gonna kind of line it up. So what I'm looking at is the top of these waves here to make sure that that's straight across. Probably I would be most efficient to use the edge though of my piece. And I'm gonna use that same blending brush and just give us kind of a cool inky brush across there. And I almost like this better for this particular card because it gives you sort of the same effect that we're doing on the front with the extra ink. And now we're going to attach this piece across here. So let me, let's see, I'm gonna kind of measure with my finger. I'm going to grab my multi-purpose liquid glue, which is underneath. And so that's why I've still got my scrap paper here. And with this glue, if you can see it, it is enough. This is my refrain. So you don't need a ton on there. And really the sort of attaching at those big intersections is gonna be good enough, okay? So you can see how little glue I popped on there. And then I'm gonna take this and attach it here to our card. So it's gonna fall just below that edge line. I'm gonna give it a little nudge. There we go. Now, multi-purpose liquid glue, this stuff is awesome. It doesn't grab instantly, so we're gonna give it a second to grab before I trim the extra away. So this is gonna give us another way to use these stamps and dies and so forth together. So, oh gosh, okay. Yes, everybody's excited about the variety on these. I know, right? Hi, Corinne. These are really outstanding stamps and dies together. Lots of good possibilities. And then, of course, this piece I would pop into my stamp case, like I've been saying, you know, to protect the extra pieces. I'll just stick it on top, and then I'd have it maybe for some future card. All right. But again, we could have used this die cut. We could have used all kinds of things. We could have just used the wave. We could have layered the waves on. So let us stick our card together, and then I'm going to show you the other version of this. Oh, I guess I need to trim this here too. I'm going to show you the other version of this, as well as I'm going to give you the sneak peek of the totally different card, totally different feel card that I've done with the same stamp set, and almost the same like cardstock layout. So pretty cool. All right. So there is the inside of our card. And then if we'd gone ahead and used the straight die cuts instead of the stamped element, then we would have this one. So I'll kind of show you kind of up close here the difference in those two. So this one has a layered piece of cardstock. This one has a blending brush background. So blending brushes work great for the front of our card as well as the inside. And here you can kind of see the difference between my two boats. They just, or ships. They just turn out differently each time you do them. And I'll show you another thing about this one versus this one. This one I stamped our waves right up to our boat. This one, my boat was kind of floating here. And so I went ahead and without re-inking my stamp, I stamped it again up a little higher. And so that kind of connected the boat to the waves that were on there. So either way, it works really well. There's no such thing as a mistake in stamping. It's just room for embellishment, right? Or it's I can't remember, what did I used to say? No such thing as a mistake. It's just a opportunity for creativity, something like that. I can't remember. Oh, Corinne says she has the stamp set, but not the dies. Well, definitely something to think about. Like if it's worth it to go back. I find that waves are something that I use on a lot of different cards, and so there's something that you can add. Like if you have seashell sets or you have beachy sets, waves are a great thing to just have on hand as sort of a universal, not necessarily just with on the ocean set. So it's always a thing to decide, right? What can I use in my crafting, and how many different purposes can I put them to use for? So I would say that this stamp set, of course, with like all of these options and so forth, this die set, I mean, just the waves alone have a really great selection of opportunities. But then of course, then there's the ships and so forth. So, all right. So are you guys want to see the other card with this one? So get ready to kind of like switch gears, because we're a totally different color concept and a totally different technique concept. But this is the card that I will show you next week. So lots of color, lots of brightness, and some really fun technique stuff. So watch for this one to come next week. All right, so with that, that is our Friday. I hope that you, or our Friday, that's our Friday, right? It's pre-Friday. That is our pre-Friday on Thursday. And so I hope you guys have some fun opportunities to be creative this today and Friday and this weekend. And stay cool wherever you are. It is so hot in so many places right now. So stay cool, stay inside, do some crafting, and definitely remember to pull out your blending brushes and remember to use them to blend on your stamps in addition to on your background. So lots of good possibilities. So, all right. All right, guys, well, have a great rest of your day, and I will look forward to seeing you on Tuesday with another, I don't know, you think we should do the on the ocean card on Tuesday, or should I mix it up and do something else first? And then on the ocean on Thursday? I can't remember. I can't decide. If you have an opinion, let me know. And of course, if you are a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, if you're a Loven Stamp demonstrator, get over. There's a link in the video description to register for Vacation Stamping School. And if you're not a Loven Stamp demonstrator and you would like to come to our demonstrator training event, if you are a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you are, of course, welcome to join us too. You can use the link in the video description. And if you're not a demonstrator yet, but the idea of like a whole day long of online stamping presentations and training and so forth appeals to you, you can join my group, and then you can sign up for Vacation Stamping School. So link in the video description for all of the above. So have a great day, guys. Happy stamping.